Hello, everybody. Today, Eco and I are going to speak about the environment in Cuba. The environment is one of the three pillars of sustainable development. Environment includes all natural components such as the air, water, atmosphere, rocks, plants, animals, and all phenomena. The rise of sea level is a threat in Cuba. When a flood occurs, seawater mixes with drinking water. This phenomenon causes desalinization. Seawater also threatens the farmer because the crops are not seawater resistant. Coastal erosion is the result of two factors: rising water levels and tourism. People have a very negative impact on the beaches because they use them too much for tourism. The Cuban coast is retreating every year. The risk in Cuba is two things: the issue and the danger. For example, the issue corresponds to the human being, and the danger corresponds to what is at stake. In Cuba, there is two kinds of dangers: natural dangers and anthropogenic dangers. To reduce the risk, Cuba has set up prevention center. Cuba has developed tools and instruments for disaster prevention. On this picture, you can see the localization of these centers. More the area is risky, more there are prevention centers. The bee protection in Cuba works very well. In fact, the USA prevented Cuba from importing pesticides. The Cubans have adapted themselves and no longer use pesticides. The Iceland is now a bee paradise. Marabou is an invasive plant come from Africa. To produce energy, the marabou is picked. Then it's processed into charcoal. With this, humans can capitalize on an initially disadvantageous situation.
Cuba's energy production is largely dependent on fossil fuels, with petroleum being the primary energy source. In 2014, the Council of Ministries approved a national action plan. According to the expansion goals of the Cuban government, the proportion of biomass plants will cover up to 14%, solar energy up to 12%, and wind energy up to 10% of the total electricity generation by 2030. The average annual temperature has been increased around 0.4 to 0.6 degrees since 1950s. Due to the changing climate in Cuba, it can already be observed today that the rainy and dry seasons begin to shift within a year. This has an impact on the occurrence and spread of pathogens. Due to climate change, an increase and a seasonal shift in the epidemic waves of the following diseases is expected: hepatitis A, viral meningitis, severe respiratory infections, dengue fever, malaria, diarrheal diseases. After the revolution, citizens were allowed to own private cars. These cars could be traded among each other provided the vehicles were built before the revolution. Otherwise, the equation of a new car required governmental approval. New cars have been available for sale again since January 2014. The prices of new cars are 5 to 8 times above the prices in Europe. Local public transport in Cuba is handled in different modes of transport and is organized both privately and by the state. Transport is carried out privately in collective buses or collective taxis. The bus network has been continuously expanded in recent years, the government increasingly using hybrid and electric buses from China. Long-distance traffic takes place by long-distance buses and trains and connects the capital with all Cuban provinces. The government is investing a lot of money in the expansion and modernization of the rail network. Only a small part of it is electrified. Most of the locomotives came from China and have been specially developed for Cuba. There is a government waste disposal system for household waste and recycling that takes care of household waste and the recovery of raw materials. There is also an informal system in which rubbish is collected and used again. The country's scarce financial resources are a major handicap when it comes to realizing the goals they have set themselves in the recycling sector.